Hi, I'm Reise, the Youth Ambassador for SAS Pork, and joining me today is Coral, a veterinarian in the swine industry. So Coral, could you tell me a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and what made you want to come into this industry?
So I'm originally from Winnipeg, Manitoba. I grew up on an acreage outside the city. What got me interested in becoming a swine veterinarian was actually working with the government of Manitoba and dealing with a disease outbreak in pigs.
How does your job relate to the pork industry?
So how it relates is I work with producers, kind of going to their farms, assessing the health and welfare of the animals, talking with them about transportation to slaughter plants, making sure that all the animals going are healthy. If there is any concerns at the plant, that we become aware with them so we can work with producers to make sure that the supply to consumers is good quality pork.
Okay, so what would be your day-to-day activities, what you do every day?
So every day is kind of different. Normally we're driving to the farms and then we'll go into the barn. Commonly, depending on the visit, we'll do export visits, which means you're inspecting animals for any kind of diseases or if they have any wounds or injuries, to make sure that they're fit to go on a truck to go to the States commonly. Other days we'll do herd health visits, so that's a full barn walkthrough. We look at the health of animals, review vaccination protocols, work with treatments in the producers, and feeding programs. And then other days we could be called out for a disease purpose and have to kind of look into an animal that has died, and we'll kind of open up to see if there's any lesions and submit samples to the lab and kind of work through that process. And then other times we're working through kind of how animals should be transported and making sure that animals that get on a truck are fit for transport before they go. Another thing that we'll do is always making sure that the animals are healthy to make sure that there's a good quality product for the consumers. But every day kind of is a different day. You never know what you're getting into.
What kind of education do you need to become a veterinarian?
So to become a veterinarian, you have to take prerequisite courses. So normally that means you need a bachelor's in something. The easiest route, I would say, is to go with a bachelor's in agriculture, and you can complete the prerequisites normally within 2 years. For the majority of people, they complete their degree. After you finish prerequisites, you can apply to the veterinary college. So there's the Western College of Veterinary Medicine here in Saskatoon. And depending on your grades, you'll go through an interview process, and then once you get accepted into vet school, then vet school itself is another 4 years and a Doctor of Veterinary Medicine degree.
What would you say your favorite parts about working as a veterinarian would be?
My favorite part would honestly be working with the producers, because every producer is different. They run their farm differently. So it's nice to work with different producers and honestly learn from them. And then a lot of the times you kind of take little things that you learn from one producer and kind of give that information to another producer that might help them out.
Is there anything that made you want to work as a veterinarian, but like with pigs specifically?
My first experience was working with the government for disease investigation in the swine industry, and that's kind of what intrigued me because I really enjoy disease and working with prevention, and I also have a passion for biosecurity, which is a huge part of the swine industry. So making sure that people follow certain protocols to make sure that they reduce the risk and possibility of bringing disease onto farms.
Could you explain more on what biosecurity is?
So biosecurity is kind of an overall general term, but it's kind of protocols and practices farmers, producers will do entering and exiting farms. So specifically for the swine industry, They include changing clothes before you entering barns. Commonly, you have to shower in so that you don't bring anything from outside inside the barn and then showering out when you leave. Other things that include is washing trucks and trailers before they enter a farm to make sure that they're not bringing anything onto that farm from the previous farm.
So it's just protecting the pigs from diseases and viruses and just outside stuff.
Yeah, it's basically you want to keep diseases that aren't on the farm out, and any disease that possibly the farm has, keeping that contained to that farm.
Is there anything you would like to say for a student who would want to become a vet?
One thing I would say is start gathering experiences young, because as you get older, it becomes harder to find experiences, and it takes time to kind of decide which path you want to go about. And the more experiences you get, the easier it is to kind of find that path later on in life.
That was all very interesting. Thank you for taking the time to talk with me today, Coral.
Thank you so much for watching The Whole Hog. We appreciate all of our sponsors for helping make this happen. Make sure to subscribe and check out all of our videos on YouTube.